Hey guys, today we'll be showing you how to edit a basic video using the open source software KdenLive. It is an alternative option to the more commonly used Movie Maker and Director Suite. The main difference being that it is an open source software, meaning the code is available at no cost and it is completely customizable. KdenLive is an acronym for KDE Nonlinear Video Editor, which alludes to the fact that it's a multi-track software, meaning you can combine various audio and video files onto one timeline. Another point is that it is an intermediate level video editor. It's more complex than the classic single track, and it does have lots of built-in features for editing your audio files and also different fun edits for your videos. KdenLive actively uses other open source projects, meaning that you can avoid converting different audio and video files to one style format, making it the easiest one if you're pulling files from different sources.
So I'll be introducing the history of KdenLive. KdenLive started in 2002 by Jason Wood, but is now maintained by a team of developers including Jane Baptiste Mardell, Vincent Pinan, Nicholas Karen, and Simon A. Exter. They focus on fixing bugs and creating newer, more refined version. To protect the software, documentation and content of KdenLive under documentation, content of KdenLive are all under license and described at the terms by the GNU. It is originally created for the GNU/Linux, but it can also be used by Windows and Mac OS now. Because it's an open source platform, it still has bugs, and then it's still being upgraded, and it does not have tech support.
So KdenLive might not be used by big companies with big budgets. It's more for the independent style productions who are very tech savvy and have the time to troubleshoot their own problems. Like mentioned, it is not for the user who's not exactly computer literate, but thanks to its large online community, you guys can find pretty much anything you need online. You can find multiple video tutorials, walkthroughs, and all your frequently asked questions to help you along the way.
So before we get started using KdenLive, the developers recommend using 32-bit or 64-bit computers with a modern processor, such as AMD 64 or Intel model or dual core systems. So if you're using Windows, you should make sure your Intel graphic card drive is version X.6709 or lower, otherwise the KdenLive GUI will become corrupted. Another requirement is a fast hard drive with more than 20 GB of free space and at least 1 GB of RAM.
Alright, hey guys, now that we've gone over the background of this software and some of the requirements to use, today we'll be showing you the basics of the KdenLive video editor as we edit some clips of a mini murder movie. Keep in mind the skills I will be teaching you are just the start of what is capable to be done using this editor. So to start off, we're going to create a folder, and basically we do this just to keep everything organized. So I'll create a folder in here, and we'll call it audio. And then I'll create another folder and call this one video. And now, in order to add clips to these two folders, you highlight the one that you would like to add a clip to, and you click this button up here, and you go add clip. And then I have it already set up to jump into a folder that has all of the clips that I will be using. So I'm just gonna grab a couple of these that we have here. And this one, we're going to add both of those, so I'll click OK at the bottom. And those will automatically add into this folder then. So I'm just going to do the same thing with a little bit of audio so that we have everything that we need to get started. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to add a track down here. So at the moment we have one video track and it's linked to an audio track, and then we have a second video track and a second audio track. Now if you wanted to add any other tracks, you right click on the tracks over here and you can hit add track. and it allows you to pick either above or under the current track that you had selected, but you can also switch the tracks on this side. So we'll do below the video 2 track, and we're just going to create another video track here, and as you can see, you have a third track created. That's one of the nice things about KdenLive. It is multi-track, so you can add as many as you need in order to complete your project. So now we're just going to go ahead and delete that track because we definitely do not need that many for what I am going to show you today. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is bring a video clip down into one of your video tracks. So to do that, you just select and drag it down to whatever track you'd like. I'm going to put it into video 1 just so that you can see how the audio lines up. An alternative to that, you can click right here, you can play your video, and then if there's a section that you want to add in, you hit this button right here, which is an in point button. And press play again, and let's say we only wanted that amount. I'll hit the out button, and then I can grab up here and pull, and it'll only bring that one section into the video line here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove that one for now. All right, the other thing that you can do if you had a really big project, down at the bottom right here, there's a scroll bar. You can scroll along just to see where everything is. And there's also a zoom in right here, so you can zoom in or out, and it gives you either more detail or less detail. So for example, if you wanted to match some audio to a video clip, you would want to zoom in so that you can really see where the audio starts. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you, we're going to do some cutting of this video clip. So if I go to the start and I press play, this is pretty long. I'll probably want to cut this down a little bit. So in order to do that, I pick the scissor icon right here, and I can pick where on this video I would like to cut it. So let's say we just wanted to cut off the last little bit here because we think it's a little too long. So I'll click here, and it'll cut through both. Then you have to hit the select icon again, and you can click on the part that you want to remove, right click, and hit remove. All right. The next thing that you might have noticed when I did that cut, it cut both the audio and the video. That's because these clips are grouped together. So if, let's say you wanted to get rid of this audio right here, which we do because we want to add some scary music to it. So what we'll do is we will right click and you go to ungroup. And then as you can see, I can grab each of them individually and move them around. Now, if for whatever reason I wanted to group those together again, you highlight one of your clips, you hit Shift on your keyboard, highlight the other clip, right click, and you can group those together again. And now, as you can see, they are grouped together again. So I'm just going to go ahead and ungroup those quickly, and we're going to right click on the audio and remove it. And I'm going to go up here to our audio, and since we used some free audio samples, when I press play here, you're going to hear at some point that they put in a watermark. So in order to remove that, I'm going to have to cut in this video. Just move this along a little bit.
Storybox audio.
So obviously we don't want that to be in there. So when I pull this in here as our audio, I know that it's this little area where they say Storybox audio because I watched the clip at the top here. So I'll just quickly remove that as well, and then go back to select, and we will get rid of this. There we go. So that's how you manipulate some audio clips as well. The other thing that you might want to do with a video is add transitions between two different video clips. So I'm just going to pull this other video clip in here just so that I can show you how that works. I'm going to quickly ungroup so we don't hear the talking. There we go. So if I wanted to do a transition here, I'll show you a couple of transitions. So you go into compositions over here, The first one I'm going to show you is wipe. The wipe transition can be manipulated a couple different ways. That's why I wanted to show it to you. So you drag it and you drop it so that it overlaps over both of the video clips, and then you can switch the duration here as well. The other thing that you can do with the wipe is you can change the way that it'll dissolve into the next one. So for example, I could do curtain, and if I go here and press play, you'll see that it curtains upwards, and that changes. For our purpose though, I will be using a dissolve one just because it gives it a little bit more of a natural transition. So if I click over here, you can see how that's different. It just naturally dissolves into the next clip. The next thing that we are going to do is add an effect. So for effects, you would hit the effect button over here. And I'm going to search for this effect because I know what it's called. So I'm going to do a fade in for the audio. And when I drag that and drop it on the audio clip, you see this green thing. That's the effect, and I can change the duration of that effect as well. So we'll do a little bit of a fade in. The other thing we can do is we can do an effect on the video. So for that one, I'm going to do a fade to black, and I'll put this on this second video clip so that at the end of our video we fade to black, and I'll just show you what both of those sound like or look like. So for this one, you can see it fade to black, and for the first one, you'll hear that the audio is very quiet, and then it gets louder as we go past that fade in. The final thing that I'm going to show you is how to add a title clip. So in order to add a title clip, we're going to need a little bit more space right here. So I'm going to right click over here, hit insert space. I want, let's say, about 2 seconds where we can have that title clip, and then you want to make sure that you hit insert space in all tracks so that all of the tracks move back 2 seconds, then hit OK. And as you can see, they all jump back a little bit, and then that way I can go into this front section here, and we're going to create a quick title clip. So let's call this Murder Movie. And I can drag that to the center. I can reposition it, change the size of the lettering. You can also change the coloring, so we can do like a kind of spooky theme here with red and white as the colors. And then the last thing that we can do, you can always do an animation. I'm not going to show you that. That's a little bit more on the complex side, so that'd probably be in tutorial number 2. But let's add this guy to our timeline now. So I'll move this up, hit OK. And it pops right in underneath the video section here, and then you can drag it and drop it onto your video track. And now if I went to the front, hit play, you have that title, and then it goes into the beginning of the video. Obviously you can change that length as well so that it's not covering your video track. The last thing that I will show you as well, or the last thing I will tell you, is before you finish your video project, I would really recommend to look at it in full screen. So if you hit monitor, you can switch the monitor to full screen, and then that way you can take a look at your finished product and see if there's anything that you need to change at all. So we'll go back down to the smaller screen here. You want to save your project, it's right up here. If you're all finished with your project, you hit render. Render usually will take a couple minutes, but once it's finished, it will be dropped into the videos folder in your file explorer if you are using Windows. Now, for the purpose of time, we've completed this video edit a little bit earlier today using only the skills we've taught you. It took us about an hour to edit a 1.5 minute video. So I'll show you that final product now. I'm just going to exit out of this. We'll go into the folder right here. So as I said, your finished products will be in videos, and it is this guy right here. I'm going to double click, and here we go.